What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chess Giant. This is Solomon Riddell. Today's video, I had a quick little speedrun for you guys. As white, every single game I'm going to be playing c3 with the Saragossa Opening, and as black, no matter what white plays. I'm going to be starting off with c6, entering into a Caro-Kann / semi-slot type structure, guys. c6 here, preparing a d5 push no matter what white goes with. And okay, we're off to the races. We're going to capture back on d5, knight f6, knight c6. Very easy development here. Thinking of an idea. So yeah, I mean, we could put a bishop on f5 or g4. I think in this case I'll play a6 to just prevent any knight b5 ideas. And okay, I mean, e3 is seen on the board, so we'll play bishop g4. Bishop h5. g4, I got bishop g6 ready to go. Bishop d3, I'll just play e6. And there we go. So, you know, white has spent a lot of pawn moves trying to push my bishop back. We now see knight e5. In that case, I will just capture that knight back. Here I got a couple of different options. I could play knight c7 and attack the bishop, but in that case, this bishop's just going to run. So I think here I'm going to keep the tension on the board a little bit and just continue with rook c8, right? Just put that rook on the open file, never hurts. I'm keeping options like bishop g6 and bishop b4 available. Obviously, if I play bishop b4 at the moment, white's just going to play queen a4 check and win my bishop, so I can't do that quite yet, but it is a potential move in the future. Now we're going to take towards the center of the board, right? So we're now putting some pressure on h3. We do have double pawns, but at the same time, guys, I'm feeling pretty good about my pawn structure here. I don't think that it's that big of an issue. Yeah, I mean, this pawn on g6 is really not going to be a target anytime soon, if ever, in this game. As black now, I mean, if this queen ever moves, I do have knight takes g4 ideas, like right now, actually, which I could go with. I think I'm going to wait a move, though, and just start off with b5. Kind of reinstate that threat. You know, if black wants to start, if white wants to start pushing my knight around, I got knight d7 attacking the bishop. So here we got a nice little game. You know, good pawn structure all around. On top of that, all of our pawns are on light squares, which is definitely a plus. You know, guys, activate your bishop and then lock up the pawn structure. That way, you know, you only have one bishop left behind the pawn structure, and that's going to be a bishop of opposite color. Guys, this bishop is more active because pawns are not on its same color, so it has more range of mobility. If this was a light squared bishop on d7, it would really just be a tall pawn. So, okay, we see the move a4 in that case. Let's play b4, try to kick this knight around. This knight goes back. I think in this case, I just have the option to take on g4. As mentioned, I mean, if you want to take my knight back, rook takes h1 with check. Thank you for our first rook and a second. So this bishop's going to have to run or just let us capture it, right? So this bishop does decide to go on the loose. In that case, we will just bring our knight right back. This pawn on h3 is becoming more and more of a weakness. Obviously, right now, we're already putting pressure on it. Knight f4 is played. Any given moment, guys, I can play g5 and kick this knight right back to, you know, d3 or e2. I think I'll just start out, though, with, I mean, bishop d6 is interesting. Honestly, I might just go with this move of a5, right? I don't want to allow a5 from white at any point. Just lock this game up on the queen side. You see a move like queen d3. We'll play queen b6, right, to stop any kind of check threats. Of course, we do see that, but in that case, we can just slide our rook over, and now we're defending this pawn. Knight d3 is played. Let's play this move of knight e4, attacking the bishop on g3. So guys, the big question here is this pawn on b5 going to become a strength or a weakness for white, right? So we do got to be careful here. I mean, bishop c7 is played. In that case, we will play bishop d6, try to trade off with it immediately. And we do. Now we're putting pressure on b5. The pawn gets pushed one step forward. And, I mean, okay, I think I can just play a move here like king d7. Try to pick this guy off. Knight a4 could be played here for sure. I think if we see that, we definitely have some options. b7 is played, however, in which case I will just capture back. Rook to c1 is played. So guys, in this case, I mean, I'm just up 2 points of material. Slide the king over to the left one square. We're up material, right? So we can just play a move like rook to c8. And we can now capture back. e5 is definitely an option. a4 is also an option here. I think I might just go with a4. Try to play a3. If you play that, I still don't really care. I'm just going to keep pushing. Whole idea being, if you take my pawn, I'm just going to play a2, right? Trying to make a queen. Now I can capture back. Play a2. And here we go. I mean, I got an extra pawn here. And on top of that, I got 5 versus 4 on the king side of the board. We can play e4 check. Start to get this king more active. g5. Back. Rook up. Just activate our rook whenever possible. Okay, I mean, I'll just play g4. I'll give up a pawn, but I'm going to get it right back. Bada boom. Okay. I can now start to throw this pawn in there. I mean, you want to check me, that's fine. I'm just going to keep nozzling my king in here. G3. Yeah, king up. Pawn up. King up. I mean, white's gonna run out of moves here eventually. Okay, so I'm not going to play king g3 because that could run into a stalemate, so I'm going to capture on e3. And then here I just have check. Queen promotes, and okay, we're out to the races. He wants a rematch. We can give him one. Here, guys, Saragossa Opening, underrated system, guys. I hear it all the time, right? I mean, you know, people talking about, oh my gosh, you know, this is, you know, the Caro-Kann is such a great opening against e4. Guys, c3 is the exact same thing, just up a tempo. In fact, when we do play c3, it's very easy to play. You can actually just pre-move d4. There's absolutely nothing black can do to stop this. I mean, they could play a move like e5, in which case we're playing Caro-Kann. They could play c5, but okay, I mean, we'll just capture back. c3 is supposed to support this move d4, and at this point, we're just going to start naturally developing our pieces, play a move like knight f3. Okay, and at this point, guys, as mentioned, we could play e3 and kind of keep this bishop back, but I personally really like activating the bishop first, getting it out into the open, and then playing the move of e3. For that reason, we now have a bishop on a light square with these pawns on dark squares. And now this bishop on d3 is going to be very active, and our bishop that would have been bad on a square like d2, for example, is now on g5 and can capture off whenever we'd like it to. Here we'll play a move like knight d2 and just support that knight on f3. b5 is played. Let's start putting some pressure on the queen side there with a4. b4 is played. We can break through with c4. Bishop e7. So here I do have some options. I could play a move like c5, which definitely isn't bad. I think I'll just kind of keep the tension for a little bit, though. Play a move like castling kingside. I mean, if black wants to capture back, I can always capture back with a knight or a bishop and just have a central advantage 2-1. So, okay, rook c1. Put my rook on this open file now. Looking at ideas like capturing at d5 and putting pressure on c6. c5 is always an option there, guys, so I'm not really in a huge rush to play that. Okay, wow, a5 is played in that case. I think I'm able to just, yeah, I'm not really seeing the idea there. So, okay, I mean, I can just capture off this knight first, take on f6, right? I mean, black's going to have to capture back here. I mean, if they want to try to have an even game of material at least. And then at that point, I'm going to take on d5. I'm now putting pressure on c6. Black spent all this time pushing up their pawns, and I, in return, am with the Saragossa Opening, just trying to naturally develop my pieces. Notice, by the way, if pawn takes, thank you for the knight, and if queen takes on d5, I'm simply able to play bishop e4 and still win the knight. So, you know, in any case, we're just going to be winning that. I think here I'll just take up, you know, just take the pawn. I'll go up a pawn here. Bishop captures. So now I have 2 pawns right in the center of the board. Black has none, which is definitely an advantage. I'm just going to keep activating my pieces here with a move like knight e4. I think squares like knight c5 and attacking f6. Knight d5 is played. I'll play knight c5. I do got to be a little bit careful here. I mean, playing a move like e4 is definitely tempting, and it actually might be good in this position, but, you know, you just got to be careful to not, you know, make your pawns too big of a weakness too early. I mean, if we do play e4 at this moment, a move like knight f4 can be played, e5. You know, I think I'm going to go for it. Start to, you know, just try to push these pawns down the board. e5. Eyeing h7. Okay, you want to do that little intermediate move. In that case, I could capture on f6, but then I lose the rook. So, okay, I can't do that, actually. I'll take with the queen. Bishop goes up. In that case, I can play a move here like just supporting my pawn on d4. c6. Let's play queen e4. As always, I'm down on time, so I got to hurry it up. Okay, knight d3. Trying to put some pressure on that pawn. In which case, I'll just capture it off. Bishop f5 is played. We can play knight f4. I want to play d5 and d6 if I can get the time. Okay, it looks like I will. d5, d6. Yeah, I'll just drop my rook over to f1. Bishop there. I'll play rook c4. Look to capture back. So black here is spending some time. I gotta try to catch up on the clock a little bit. I'm definitely down on time. Rook e4, defending that pawn. Knight d5 on the way, probably. Yeah, I'll play knight d5 here. So now I have 2 threats. I will play check. Boom. Man, I'm tempted to just take on, but I gotta defend this pawn first. Drop this rook back. Play f4. Takes. Here. So I'm up 4 points of material, but obviously I got 23 seconds, so I gotta hurry it on up here. I am catching up a little bit, but obviously the ratio still isn't great. Capture back. Rook d1. Here. 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 So now I have a... I think I should have a 1 game here. Queen. Here. Here. So I'm just going to sacrifice my queen for the pawn. And okay, I mean now I'm just going to make a second queen. And okay, I mean at this point I'm going to treat my queen like it's a knight. Start to just keep making progress here. Okay, we're going around in circles a little bit for sure. Okay, queen there, king up. Queen g6, and we got ourselves a game over. Let's keep it rolling. Okay, e4 is played. As always, guys, in this little speed run, we're going to play c6, and now d5 playing the Caro-Kann. Bishop d3 is played. Interesting. I mean, in that case, I could just capture back, play knight f6, bishop f3. I mean, play a move like bishop f5 now. e6. Bishop d6. Offer up a trade. See what they do with that. Knight d2. I mean, guys, I mean, the Caro-Kann, Saragossa Opening, very easy to play. Obviously, I mean, there is opening theory in the Caro-Kann, some of the sharper variations, but even then, I mean, you can always go for easier lines that are, you know, pretty simple and easy to learn. So definitely, I think underrated options, especially for beginner players. c3 is played. Kind of tempted to do a little knight a6, knight c7 maneuver here. This knight could also support a c5 push, right? Putting some pressure on d4. Queen b3 is played, however, in which case, I mean, okay, let's play a move like b5, right? Start to expand on the queen side. Of course, I just gave up a pawn, which was totally a mistake. But it happens, right? So you give up the pawn, rook b8, defending the pawn on b5. Okay, so here white capturing on d6. I'm trying to think. I mean, bishop takes c6. I take on f4. Knight captures back. Play the rook over. You can't take on b5. Queen d6. I think white should have definitely taken the pawn here, but in any case, it's interesting. Yeah, I still think that I made a little mistake there, but okay, you move on. So the pawn on c6 is now defended. Castling kingside is played. I mean, I kind of want to play a move like rook b8, right? Yeah, let's just get that rook out of the line of fire. By the way, guys, I hope you're enjoying this video and hopefully learning from both my good moves and my bad. You know, I'm definitely not a Hikaru Nakamura by any means, as I usually say, but that being said, I am trying to learn and I'm trying to get better. And you know, hopefully you guys will, you know, be able to, you know, see me at least in reaching distance, and you know, hopefully I can show you guys. I'm trying to be as honest as I can through my games, so you know, just trying to show you guys. Okay, I think that was a mistake. I think that was good. You know, that kind of thing. D5 is played. I think in that case I could capture back. Ooh, e5 also looks interesting. Of course, then white would have a protected passed pawn, which is going to hurt me in the long run. So what if I just put some pressure here on that pawn? I mean, if you want to take, I'm going to take on d2, right? So I'm okay with that. Yeah, okay, knight g3 is played. I got to drop this bishop back. Keep some pressure on d5. Let's see, we got white here. Interesting. Okay, rook d1. Play knight c7. Look to capture back on e6. By the way, guys, I'm currently an expert, USCF chess expert, but I'm hoping to make a run for National Master, hopefully sometime in the next couple of years. So if you guys are from California or from the US, let me know down below what tournaments you're going to be going to. You can always email me as well. I'd love to meet some of you guys. Okay, so I like knight d4, the possibility of that. I mean, knight e2 does just kind of stop that idea. Okay, knight e4 is played, however. Queen e5. So we're attacking the knight. We got knight d4 options in the air as well. As always, I'm down on time. So we see rook takes d8. Knight d4, attacking the queen and the bishop. Queen e3 is played. Okay, I mean, in that case, we could just capture bada bing and then play knight c2. b3. e5, I'll slide the rook over one square. As always, guys, I gotta hurry it on up here. I don't know if I can actually save that pawn. I'll just capture on e5 now. Knight d4 is probably going to be the move here. Okay, I mean, you want to keep pushing that pawn, that's fine. Play h6. I'm now looking at king h7, knight c2. Let's see, we got knight e3 on the way. Rook a3 is no longer possible. That is possible, however. Okay, knight e1. Knight d3. Okay, I can just capture there. Boom. b2, b1. b2 is played. Rook e8 here. I gotta try to defend that square for sure. Okay, I'll take on c5. Okay, I will play a move here like knight d3. Knight b4. Capture on d5. I'll take here. So here, guys, I'm just running out of time. Definitely made a mistake there, but you know how it goes. You just gotta keep playing. Knight d4, knight e6, knight g5, knight e4 check. Here, take the knight there. Okay, in that case, bada bang, bada boom. Bing, boom, boom, boom. Just keep pre-moving here. Hopefully I'll pull this one out. Okay, we got it by the skin of our teeth. I had a good position there, but I definitely fumbled that one up a little bit. Let's keep it rolling now. Caro-Kann here, c6. Can pre-move d5. You're right. Doesn't really matter what the opponent plays. Knight c3. Okay, so I could take on c4, but that runs into e4, and yeah, I don't really recommend that line for black. You know, I mean, I think that we can fall into trouble pretty quickly there, so I'm just going to continue with my usual knight f6. Notice there's not really much the opponent could do from stopping us from getting the setup. Okay, now we now see d4, so okay, let's activate our bishop first. Let's play bishop g4, attack that knight. e3 is played. In that case, we'll play e6, forming that pawn pyramid. Bishop e2, we'll play bishop d6. Knight d7. c5. Okay, so here we got a couple different options. Some people like to play bishop b8 and then queen c7, right? And try to really put some pressure on h2. That's definitely an option here. Another option is just to play bishop c7, which seems a little bit more natural, gives some room for this rook, and then also play queen e7. So here, in a position like this, your opponent pushes with c5, you can play queen, you can play bishop b8 and form a battery ram, or you can go for just a more natural structure. I think here, I'm definitely going to play bishop b8. It looks more aggressive. I want to play queen c7, and eventually force a move like g3, if I can. b4 is played. Okay, in that case, we'll play queen c7. g3 is seen on the board. And, okay, let's keep pushing h5. We need to play h4 here. Knight h4 is played, however, in which case, let's just play g5 ourselves. Knight h3, bishop h3. Sorry, knight g2, bishop h3. I'm now looking at ideas like taking on g2 or just playing h4 first, right? I mean, you could play h4 first. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, h4, take on g3, take on g2, rook takes h2 check. f4 kind of throws a wrench in that, however. But that being said, I mean, I'm trying to think. That's still an interesting option. h4 definitely looks fun. If you want to capture, I can always just capture back and, you know, look at that g-file potentially. If you capture on g5, I have h takes g3 ideas. The question is, now that they've played it, do I go for it? I think I will. So take on g3. Obviously here I'm giving up a minor piece, but in return, what am I trying to do? So I can take on h2 with check. I could also take on g2 first, and then play rook takes. Captures back is a solid option as well. I think, I mean, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I think I'm actually going to take on g2 first. Attack the rook on f1. We're now sitting at even material in this exact position. Now I'm down a piece, but I can play rook check. And then the whole idea here is that if the king goes back, notice how the king here, guys, just has no protection. We can play g2, attacking the rook. And if this rook moves, we have rook h1, right? And that's just disastrous for white. In fact, right now, we can play check. And yeah, this king's not going to get out of a mating net. So yeah, I mean, sometimes, guys, just... And this is something I like as well about the Caro-Kann Saragossa. It's actually surprisingly not that passive. I mean, you can still play aggressive chess with it for sure. I think they get a bad rap for just being very passive positional. But first off, there's nothing wrong being positional, and secondly, you know, it's really not positional if you don't want it to be. So okay, I gotta stop talking. Here, there's a few ways I can win. I think I'll just play queen g3 check. I allow this king to take the rook, and then queen h2, and we have ourselves a ball game. Let's keep it rolling. As white again, guys. I mean, c3 here, great system for white. Preparing a d4 push. e5 is played. We're still going to play d4. We'll see what black comes up with here. Okay, so black here going for an advanced variation, right? So in that case, we have some options. We could play a move like e3. We could also activate our bishop first on f4. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Bishop f4. And then lock this game up after that with e3. We got ideas like knight d2. Okay, so d5 is played. We'll play a3 here. You know, just trying to protect that b4 square in case a c4 break ever happens. We don't want to allow any ideas. Knight e7. In that case, we'll play h3, giving this bishop an escape square. Knight f5. Okay, so here black trying to play aggressively. I kind of like the idea of c4 here. I could also prep that a little bit more with rook c1. Of course, I did play c3, and then playing c4, you could argue, is wasting a tempo. However, knight f5 is played. G4 is a option as well, kind of kicking that knight back a little bit. You know, I think I'm gonna play c4 though. I've been prepping this move for a little bit. Obviously, if you take knight, you know, knight takes e4 is an option. Not sure if I do that or not, but you know, we are trying to put as much pressure on the opponent as we can. Bishop d6. In that case, let's just capture off that d5 pawn. Capture on c6. The bishop goes back. So right now I'm up 1 point material. I think I'll just capture on e4 now. Whole idea being I can take with check against the king. I could have captured on b7, but this bishop would have become very active. And on top of that, black now has some bad pawn structure. You know, if you have a choice, hey, my opponent has bad pawn structure, my opponent has good pawn structure. It's pretty simple. We could capture with check for sure. I think I'll just do that. It seems pretty simple. Capture with check, play knight f3. So now I'm just up a pawn, guys. I have two central pawns, but I got to get my king the heck out of here and castle as quickly as I can. Bishop d3, attacking this knight on f5. h6 is played, in which case I'm also tempted to just take on f5, right? It's like, man, if you're offering me a trade, why wouldn't I just take it? We'll play rook c1 though, kind of stop any c5 ideas from happening. A rook c5 move here is also very nice. Notice, guys, that this is, in one sense, a hole in chess because no pawns are going to be able to attack the square for the rest of the game. I think technically a hole would be if a pawn's on b5 because a pawn would be past this point. But I mean, even now, I mean, if I play rook c5, this rook ain't going anywhere anytime soon, right? That being said, I mean, if I do play that, the knight just goes back. It's you know, it's far from crushing or anything like that. I think I'll just take on f5, and then I'll throw my knight into e5. Notice I'm really trying to take control of these dark squares in the center of the board. I'm currently attacking c6, and if the bishop defends it, I will snatch that bishop right off. Knight e4, or sorry, bishop e4 is played, however, in which case we now have f3 ideas. And now e4, right? So again, just going after this bishop as much as we possibly can. Bishop e6 is played. In that case, I have knight takes d6 or rook captures on c6. I think I'll just take back with the... Oh, if I do take with the knight, though, we do have queen g3, which is somewhat problematic. So let's take with the rook. Get this queen back. In which case we can now just castle kingside. So we're up 2 points of material now. f6 is played. I mean, in that case, we'll play knight g6, forking the queen and the rook, and we're also putting pressure on e6 in the moment. So the whole idea here is that, I mean, sure, white can, you know, try to get our rook back, but here we actually, I mean, d5 almost works because of queen c5, but I mean, here we could still just take that knight, the bishop right off. We're still up 2 points of material, and now we have a huge edge in the center. Of course, I've been talking too much, so I have 28 seconds. I keep forgetting that I'm on the clock. d5, queen e3, already dropped a pawn. c6, I'll capture back. Queen b3 ideas are definitely an option. Rook c1 as well. I'll play rook c1, eyeing c7. c7 is now played. Queen c5 on the way. Queen d5. Queen b6, I'll go over one. Yeah, rook captures. Okay, queen check. King goes back. I'll play rook d1. I think black missed an opportunity there. So I'm up a point material, but I only have 16 seconds, obviously. I'll play king h1. e5 is an option for sure. I'm trying to support that move now. I mean, okay, rook e1. I want to pre-move. Okay, obviously they can't even take it, unless they take with the rook, obviously, but, okay, I mean, if I take... Okay, we'll take now, actually. Check. Here. Check. Pawn up to f5. Queen f3 can be played. I'll pre-move there. Okay, as always, trying to blitz my opponent out the last second of the game. And there we go. Got the win. Guys, by the way, rook e8 obviously just gave up a rook, but in a situation like that, your opponent has 4 seconds. Just try to burn out the clock a little bit, especially in online chess. Here, guys, Saragossa Opening is always c3. We got d4 on the way here. Yeah, knight f3 coming up. Again, guys, very simple system. c3, d4, knight f3. In this case, we can play bishop g5 before playing e3, forming our pawn pyramid. We can play a move like knight d2 now. Knight e4 is played. Okay, so here black trying to create some inequalities. I actually like this move for black. I think if black plays too passively here, it just gives white an easy game. That being said, though, I am just able to capture back and then bring this knight to d2, right? Whole idea being we're attacking that pawn. f5 is played, but as y'all can see, this diagonal is a big potential weakness for black. I could just play bishop c4, getting a tempo against that king. Definitely an option there. In fact, I think I'll do that because, I mean, e6 isn't possible. We just take the queen right off the board, right? King h8. We can now start to push like crazy with h4, looking to play h5 against this pawn. Again, Saragossa Opening, very aggressive. If you want it to be h6 is played. Okay, I'm just going to play h5 anyways, attacking that pawn on g6. I mean, if you take here, I'm just going to take with check. King up. I mean, in that case, we'll take with check. We'll drop a little queen in there. This king's going to have to go back. Bishop takes h6. Bishop captures back. We take back with the queen, and we have mate in 1 in that case. So I think queen e8 might be a decent try here for black. In that case, I'm still able to probably just drop my queen back, right? Queen h4, queen g5. Okay, my opponent resigns. On to the next one. By the way, guys, if you're playing a Saragossa Opening and your opponent goes for that fianchettoed setup, bishop g4 and eventual h5, h4 ideas, key idea, can get you some really quick and easy wins. So we see c6. We can just pre-move d5. e5 is played. So here white going for a f4, e5 pawn chain. Very interesting. I think here I'll play some hyperdynamic chess, play knight h6. Looking to play knight f5 soon. Play bishop g4, attacking that minor piece. Okay, so there white going with that idea, in which case I'll play e6, forming the pawn pyramid. Knight f5 on the way. Bishop d3 is an interesting attempt there for white, trying to prevent knight f5 from happening. Because in this case, we're now able to attack the pawn, and we have potential queen h4 check ideas now, which, you know, are definitely a little bit troublesome for white. I think, however, I'm first going to play bishop e7 and then play check with the bishop. That way the queen can't block. So, okay, I mean, we just throw in a check here, bishop h4. The king's going to have to run away somewhere. King there, knight g3 check. I mean, thank you for the rook on h1. We got knight f2 on the way, which is exactly what we see. We say thank you for the queen. Okay, we're on to the next one. And let me know down in the comment section below what other videos, what other openings you'd like to see me mess around with and play. You know, Saragossa is honestly one of my favorites, really for all time controls. Bullet, Blitz. You know, I've actually been thinking about starting to play this in tournament games as well. I mean, it's especially against a higher rated player, it's just so hard to really, you know, create a one game for black against this setup, especially early on. c5 is played. I'm going to activate my bishop against that knight. Knight c6 as always, get that bishop out, form that pawn pyramid. Here black going for a more terrace defense type structure. Knight d2 on the way, bishop d3, bishop e5 sometimes, pinning that knight, but I usually like playing bishop d3. We see h6 from black. So here it's like, okay, do I give up the bishop? I'm going to keep the bishop, play bishop h4. I mean, if you want to keep kicking my bishop around, I'm okay with that. Bishop f5, I will offer up a trade. Okay, we capture back, e6 is played, so now this knight on f6 is pinned. And, okay, let's face it, we could take on c5, but then the bishop would be able to capture right away. So what we should do is first develop our pieces, and then once this bishop moves, then capture on c5, right? The whole idea being that this bishop wasted a turn, and then we got it to move. I mean, in this case, trying to figure out if you want to take on c5. I think I'm just going to continue with castle and kingside, but that's a key idea, guys. I mean, if you see your opponent playing something, I'll give you a take back. If you see your opponent playing something like c5, right, I mean, and, you know, don't just take it right away. Let the bishop move first and then take on c5. That way they waste a tempo, which is going to be a big edge for you going into the middle game position. So, okay, we play a move here like rook e1. I'm eyeing e4 ideas. I love breaking through with e4 at some point in these kind of Saragossa games. Rook there, we'll play rook d1. Just trying to load my rooks up here. Okay, a6 is played from black. In that case, I think I'm going to take on c5 now. Play b4, take this bishop back. So this is kind of like a semi-Slav type game in a lot of ways. I now have the option of playing e4. I could also play a move like knight d4 there. Of course, that runs into knight e5 attacking the queen. It's not too great for me, honestly. Let's just solidify our pawn structure. Let's play a move here like a3, right? Really solidify the pawn on b4. Opening up c4 ideas. Okay, here black not really liking that idea. In that case, though, I'll just play b5, try to kick that knight around. Okay, knight b8 is played. So, you know, this move may have been a little bit premature. I mean, I didn't have to play that. I could have played it at any point, but, you know, it does give me some space, which is nice. Of course, my pawn is being attacked now, so let's play a4 and defend it. c3 pawn is also being attacked. Okay, so this knight's coming around now. I could just continue now with e4. e4, knight back, queen c2. Yeah, I'll go for it. e4. Putting pressure on d5, e5 ideas in the air as well. Queen c2. Obviously, if you take, I'll capture back with the knight, and my rook will be attacking your queen. If not, we have ideas like just taking on d5 and then getting this knight somewhere out of the way and putting pressure on the queen as well. Of course, this rook on c8 is also aimed directly at my king, so that's definitely not in my favor. So we'll take on e4 here. Okay, bishop captures. In that case, we could capture back. There's nothing wrong with that, per se. I feel like there's something I can get out of this, but I'm having a hard time seeing it. Could play c4. You know, c4 looks interesting, so I'm going to play it, putting some pressure on d5. Obviously, this pawn can't move unless they want to lose their queen. Knight takes e4, I'll take back with the rook. Not the queen, because I don't want to lose my queen, right? Okay, so we're at 52 seconds and 71 seconds. We'll take there, we'll take with the rook. Bishop there. Could just play queen e2, get my queen the heck out of the way, as always. Bada bing, bada boom. And this queen develops, I take the pawn. Go either way with that. Okay, thankfully the time's starting to come out more in my favor at the moment. Queen e2, we're attacking the pawn d5. Okay, in that case, let's bada bing. We can take with check, check, take on d5. Obviously here there's no back rank mate because my knight. Should probably play a move like h3 or g3 pretty soon here though. Okay, I'll play g3, so my king could come to g2. Rook d7, eyeing the pawn on b7. b6 is played. Rook a7. If you want to take my pawn, I'll take yours. We'll call it an even trade. Okay, b7 is played. I want to play rook a8, potentially. Of course, this square is defended by the bishop. Okay, there you have it. On to the next one. Pretty even game there, honestly. I think we would have ended up with a bishop and a king versus a knight and a king with 3 pawns apiece. Okay, I almost played e4. I don't know why I did that. c3. Okay, d4 on the way. In fact, we're just going to pre-move it. We don't care what black plays. Okay, so we've seen quite a bit of different things in this video. I mean, Saragossa Opening, black has captured on d4. Black has pushed the pawn. Black has now defended the pawn on e5, right? There's a lot of different things that we're seeing. Knight f3 is interesting. It does run into e4 though, which you could argue is a little bit passive in some lines. I think I'll just take on e5. This is one easy way to play this. Just take on e5. We could also play bishop f4 here. That's one idea. Kick this knight back, start playing h4, h5. I kind of like just to play simple. Play knight f3. I mean, that's what I like to do. Usually I take towards the center, but in this case, I mean, let's get our bishops out as quickly as we can. Bishop d3. Castling kingside on the way now. There's really no, huge, sacrifice threats at the moment. Knight e7 is played. Bishop g5 is interesting for sure. We could also kind of go for that bishop very aggressively with a move like knight a3. I think I'm going to play knight a3. This kind of sodium attack type fashion, eyeing b5, eyeing c2. Yeah. And, notice, guys, if this bishop does capture back, we don't have to take back with the pawn and get double isolated pawns. We could play this move, queen a4, and then take back with the queen, kind of eyeing this long diagonal, which is probably what I'd go with, honestly, in that line. Even though this does give us some very imbalanced and fun chess we take back with the pawn. So I'm wanting to play knight b5 and chase this bishop around. I think, black would be smart to play a move here like c6 or a6 to stop this idea altogether, in which case I'll reroute this knight to a square like c2, d4, e3, and yeah, just try to make an active piece out of that knight. Oh, I could have put this knight on d2, definitely playable, but I don't know. I just didn't see much of a maneuverable option for that knight. Knights are very interesting. I mean, a queen, right? You move a queen, and you always have all these options. A bishop, somewhat similar, but a knight, guys, I mean, a knight, okay, you want to get the knight here. How do you get it there, right? That's a big question. You want to get a knight here. How do you get it there? You really got to think ahead. In this case, I'm going to play queen a4 check, pick off this bishop. Okay, so we're picking out the bishop. We now have an active line against that knight. Nice move from black there. Black does not want to allow me to start playing moves like rook e1, bishop g5, and just start pestering that knight in a lot of lines there. So we are attacking the knight, but this queen is somewhat awkwardly placed. I mean, let's be honest. It's not a bad queen, but it is a little weird. So I think we're just going to play bishop g5, attack that minor piece. f6 is played. We'll drop the bishop back. Maybe f4. I'm okay with this pawn f6. It's making this king a little bit vulnerable to attack. Bishop there is played. Let's try to play some tricky chess. Let's play rook over to e8, or sorry, e1, and really put a double attack against this knight, which is the key defender of this bishop on f5. Whole idea being, if black does play a move like rook e8, we do have rook takes e7 ideas in the air potentially. So that's one plus of having your, queen on, like this on a3. By the way, I mean, this is, if you guys have ever heard of the Snell variation, I made a video on that. The Snell variation is, yeah, definitely a interesting option for black, but it kind of borrows some of these same ideas. So we do see bishop takes on d3. In that case, we can just win this knight on e7. I think I'll take with the rook. Yeah, I think taking with the rook's the way to go there. Rook e1 probably on the way to defend it. If black tries to get in the way of this rook, which is currently on the 7th rank. Bishop a6, okay, we can play rook e1 as planned. Putting some pressure on g7. It's going to take a while for this queen to get into the action, so I might have to play kind of weird looking move like queen b4. Queen c5 is also good though, so I think I'll go with that. Queen c5, defending that rook. Queen e3 on the way potentially. I also have this option of just playing something like check, right, with rook e8. Okay, g5 is played. Oh gosh, in that case, let's just bring this bishop back. King g7 is seen. And, okay, let's play queen e3 here. Supporting that rook. We'll pre-move there, just in case. Okay, so we got to check now. I'm assuming black's going to take the queen. I mean, black doesn't have to, actually, but it seems pretty straightforward to me. King g6, h4. Start to try to break up this pawn structure a little bit. Take on g5. Nice player there from black. Black not trying to, to fall into anything. Got f4 in the way, potentially. Here my opponent running out of time, so let's just keep playing quick chess. We'll capture back on f4. And it looks like my opponent left the game. Oh, he's back. Okay, maybe he disconnected. g4. Let's play f3. King there. We can play king f2. We can always take on g4 and then, hold this position together. Again, another pretty drawish game there, but with the time, you got to keep that in mind. I think that's one thing I also like about playing just c3 and c6 no matter what my opponent plays. It's very simple. No matter what the opponent plays, we almost have the same game plan every single time. Again, c6, d5, knight f6, bishop g4 on the way, right? Trying to put some pressure on this knight. Knight e5 is now, what white's going for, so I'm actually going to take that knight off because I personally have a hard time against stonewall type setups where there's a pawn on d4 and f4 and a knight on e5. It's just a headache, and I don't like to deal with it, so I'll just take that knight off. E6 is played. And okay, the question now is, do I play c5? I think I'll play a6 first, just defend that b5 square, try to prep this up a little bit. In this case, I will play c5. Queen b6 ideas in the air as well. Okay, so we see the knight there. We'll play queen b6, attacking b2 and the pawn on d4, knight b3. We got c4 ideas ready to go, which is what we'll do. Bishop a5. Okay. It's interesting. I think this bishop's going to be pretty awkwardly placed. I mean, if I play queen b5, the whole idea is that a4 is played, and I can't continue attacking the bishop. So I can't just win a piece here outright. That being said, I can just play a move like queen c6, kind of drop this queen over one square. And, I mean, okay, we got b6 as an option, kicking this bishop back to c3. We can now play b5 ourselves, so I need to trap the bishop with b4. b4 is played from the white side. And as black, we are going to respond with a5. Just continue to put the pressure on white here. I mean, if you want to take, we'll play b4. a3 is played, however. Okay, so in that case, okay, we could take... I think I will just capture on b4. Play bishop e7. Notice that this rook is defended. So guys, I mean, this is really what we want. This bishop on c3 is a defender. Our bishop on e7 is a attacker, which is good for us. We'll castle kingside now, defend that queen. We have queen a4 ideas, kind of trying to, come in here. Queen a5 is an idea for white for sure, but we just take the queen and then play b4. e4 is played, however. Okay, resourceful play from white. Whole idea being if we take, we got an intermediate move there from white. Just capturing back. That being said, though, I'm okay with it. So I will take on e4. We got bada boom, bada bing. We will attack that bishop on a3 now. An active game here for black. This bishop is really trying to hold on to everything, but I don't know if it can keep doing it. I mean, yeah, let's play c3. Attack that bishop. And in this case, we could try to go up a pawn, but of course rook b1 is a potential idea there. If we play knight f6, we got bishop c6 on the way, which is not fun. I'm just going to take on b4. Maybe drop this bishop back now to f8. Knight f6 on the way, attacking that bishop. This bishop's got to go somewhere. Let's see. Bishop d3. We have knight g4 on the way, attacking that bishop. Notice how we have back rank mate threats here. I mean, not mate threats because of the bishop, but, we can get some pretty active game, active positions out of that. The bishop drops back. We will throw in a check. We will throw in rook c1. Not seeing a way for white to hold on to this pawn on c2. So we're just going to go up a pawn now. As always, I'm down on time. Big surprise there. d5 is played. Okay, I mean, yeah, let's just take that pawn off the board. Bishop d4, interesting. Okay, we can take back now. Rook there is played. Play knight f6. Knight e4 in the air if rook is played. Okay, let's throw in a check. A pawn move. Check. Now we're just picking out the bishop on c5 and we have ourselves one game. Let's keep it rolling. c3. We're wanting to play d4, which we're going to do every single time no matter what the opponent plays. Here black not really trying to stop us from playing that. We may see a d5 push, in which case, okay, we're going to go with our same idea, knight f3, bishop g5 on the way. At this point, we're going to start building a pawn pyramid. If black does decide to take on d4, we'll simply take back the c-pawn and play knight c3, and we have a semi-slop type game. e3 here, or slop type game. As always, bishop d3 can be played. This bishop very active. So this bishop on c8, I mean, this bishop can become active later on in this game if black plays this correctly. At the same time, this bishop could also become a really big weakness for black. getting in the way of their development. So as white, we're just trying to free flow our pieces as much as we possibly can. Notice how we do have some pressure here on the king side of the board. Castling king side, rook e1, queen e2, e4. e4 is a big idea here in the Saragossa. Very easy to play with as white. The opponent has to think a little bit. A terrace setup here, pretty traditional setup there from black. Solid way to play against it for sure. Attacking h7. Okay, so here, I mean, we have some ideas. I personally kind of always like taking with the e-pawn. I feel like it kind of frees up some knight e5 ideas later on in this game. b6 is played. We can now play bishop b5, potentially knight e5, pinning that knight. Ooh, that's definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting idea. I think I'm going to go for that, actually. Bishop b5, pinning this knight on c6. Bishop e7, we'll play knight e5 now. Queen c7, let's, I mean, bishop f4 threatens ideas like knight g6, which is definitely fun. Yeah, let's play that. Bishop f4, attacking the queen. Bishop d6, nice play there from black. Knight takes f7 doesn't quite work right now. I could play a move here like queen a4 for sure. And just start to try to really put some pressure on that knight. It's far from winning there. But queen a4 does look good though, so let's play it. Battery ram against that knight. So here we're obviously just starting to win a piece. A lot of pressure here from white just out the gate. Just taking e takes d4, knight e5, and boom, here we go. Black hasn't even castled yet. It's not like they play bad, it's just Saragossa is very hard to go against. I mean, it's a Caro-Kann with an extra tempo. Okay, we could take with the knight. We could also capture with the bishop, which is what I'm going to do. So black's played this pretty well. Casher's back. Could take with the knight. We could take with the queen as well. Yeah, let's just take with the queen. I think that's fine. G3. F4. Trying to open up an E5 square from a knight. Of course, E4 could become a weakness, so we might want to start marching up our king a little bit. Let's do that. King E2. King D3. Knight e5 is what I'm prepping. Yeah, knight e5. We'll pre-move that guy. Knight g4. So here, black trying to play cute. In that case, though, I'll just play rook f1 and h3 and g4 ideas, kicking that knight back. Trying to limit the activity of that knight as much as I can. Stuck at a minute apiece, which for me is not all that bad. I'm actually okay with that. Okay, knight there. In that case, let's play something like rook g1. I want to play g4 before knight f5, but obviously knight f5 could just be played right now. Okay, g4 is played. Knight back. We can play h4 now, looking to play h5. Trying to just get this knight the heck out of here as much as I can. g6, h5. King g7, knight f3. I'm looking at knight g5 ideas. Okay, you want to do that? We can play here. Okay, so notice what we've done. We've created a weakness potentially on this f6 square. So let's just throw our rook in there. Obviously, this knight can get rid of it right away, but a move like rook f6 never hurts to just kind of throw into the action. In fact, now we can form a double battery ram potentially. Or I could take there. Let's take here. Take on e6, attacking the knight now. So now we're just up a pawn. Rook f3 check ideas are not available. We're also attacking b6, so here black's got to be really careful. King e3 is never going to hurt here, just trying to get this rook, no hope really. Okay, king e3 is now played. Okay, we'll take the pawn off the board. We will yeah, I'm okay with just giving up a knight there to get a position that's easy to work with. We'll play rook g3. E6 on the way. No, that doesn't work. Yeah, let's play rook g4. King d3. Check. We'll take on d5 now. g5 is going to fall. Okay, I mean, I'm okay with trading off there. Pawn of the races. There you have it. Looks like I'm not quite at 21, so let's one more game hopefully in the books. One more point to go. We'll play his block, play c6 here. Okay, as always, d5 can be played. We'll capture back. We'll continue with knight f6. In this case, okay, so white has really captured off really quickly, so we can't take towards the center, but even then, okay, knight f6, knight c6. It seems as if white actually knows what they're doing here because they're playing exactly how we've been doing this whole video. Bishop g4. I think in that case, I will mix things up a little bit. I'm going to play a6 and just, you know, kind of get rid of any knight b5, bishop b5 ideas. e3 is now seen. Okay, we'll play bishop g4. We can play e6, defending the pawn on d5, and now, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about this. We could just play bishop e7. I think we'll just do that. Obviously here we have almost symmetrical positions. If a3 is played, we actually would have symmetrical positions. Bishop h5, bishop g6, potentially. Okay, so a3 is played. Here, very weird position, right? I mean, I could just kind of force a dead even game with a move like h6 and bishop h4. Knight e4 is definitely an option as well. I think here I'll probably just castle kingside first. b4 from white. Okay, let's put a rook on c8. You know, it's still very easy chess from both sides. I mean, it seems as if we're kind of have the same game plan here, which is kind of funny. Knight e4 still can be played. I'm trying to read out, you know, the right moment to strike with that move. It's definitely risky for sure. But you know what? Let's do it. Knight e4. Let's finally throw a wrench in this position a little bit. Bishop takes e7. Okay, so at this point, do I have any intermediate moves? Knight takes e3. Rook. I could take back with a knight, potentially. Yeah, let's take with a knight. So here the whole idea is if knight takes e4, we now have this idea of rook takes c1, intermediate move, forcing knight f6 check. Because if the queen takes, then I just take this knight, and white's going to lose a piece. Or have to play g4, right? Which is definitely not recommended. I think white's best try there was knight f6 check. You know, trying to give us some double pawns. Even then, I think we're completely fine. But here, obviously, this queen is kind of just out of whack because we captured first, right? And okay, there we go. Thanks for watching, and thank you especially to all of you engaging on Patreon. Your donations are helping the Chess9 team create more and better chess content. If you want to learn more about the extras that you can unlock by subscribing at one of our Patreon tiers, hit up the link in the description. If you'd like to see my entire openings playlist, click that playlist to the left. If you'd like to see me just hanging out and playing some chess, click that playlist to the right. Leave a comment down below to let me know what other videos you'd like to see covered on this channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.